Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Josh.
And I am Drew.
This is our pull list review for September,
14th.
October, November.
One of the burrs.
The 14th of the burr. October.
Yeah, there's 8 of them.
But it's the 10th month. Why is it October?
That's a good question. Leave us a comment below if you know why it's October.
Yeah, tell us what the fuck's up with that. So, we're going to start off this week talking about a brand new title. I've been pretty excited to read this one ever since I saw it announced.
Me as well.
This is Scotty Young and Jean-Francois Ballin. That's probably not how you say his name. It's I Hate Fairyland #1. This is Image Comics title. This is going to be a long episode, Drew. I can't talk today.
The premise of this is there's this little girl that wishes she could go to Fairyland, and then she goes to Fairyland, and she just wants to go home immediately. So they're like, okay, we'll take this fly guy and this map and go find this key and you can go home. And I believe it's 26, 27 years later, she's still there.
I loved this, man.
It's great.
I kind of figured I would. I've loved what he's been doing lately, but putting him on Image Comics is perfect.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
Letting him run wild. We get that crazy, goofy Scotty Young artwork that everybody knows, and that same humor, but just ratcheted up about 10 degrees. We have, you can see on the cover just the bloodied axe that just follows throughout this whole thing. It's
super gruesome.
Gory and gruesome.
It's visually, I would say, equal parts My Little Pony and Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm. Or Tree Friends, happy tree friends hugging.
I have no idea.
But this even goes further. There's cursing, and she's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
And she's like a 30-year-old woman in this little girl's body, roaming around trying to find this key that she was supposed to find in a day, and she just can't find it. And
Not to mention how arrogant she's become from just slaying everybody that she's come across for the past 27 years.
Right. Well, as a guest of Fairyland, she has diplomatic immunity, basically.
Yeah, she can do whatever she wants.
And so she just doesn't even give a shit anymore. She just murders people and robs from the banks, and man, it's just irreverent and stupid, but smart and clever and funny
And brutal.
Brutal.
It's super brutal.
With all the pink.
This is the grindcore comic of the year.
This is the most bright and colorful brutal thing I've ever read. It's such a great dichotomy between the two.
Yeah, the first page is just straight pink.
Right. Right. And it's both in the writing and the art are both like that, where it's these equal parts silly and fun, and then just hateful and mean-spirited. Just kind of smashed together. It's pretty great. Definitely recommend this one. And who's the target audience for this? It's not for kids, really.
No, probably us.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah, people who have this connection to Sunday morning cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons in our youth, and want to see that in kind of a modern adult view of it. And she's basically our age, stuck in this place. So yeah, it's pretty great. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about our second title of the week. This is Catwoman #45. This is Valentine, Messina, Carlucci, and Luridge.
This issue, Black Mask is in a hell of a lot of trouble.
Right. I'm still really happy with where this is going now.
Me too. I felt that this, again, kind of tying to the last one, it was super brutal. They definitely stepped up the brutality factor, but also it seemed a lot more philosophical than it has been. And it's been a pretty consistently philosophical title. So to see them step that up even more, it's great.
Mm-hmm. They're also doing a really good job of transitioning back towards more of a status quo for the character, but in a way that feels authentic and interesting for the character.
It's not awkward at all,
Right. In the same way, this reminds me where they're going right now with the old Brubaker run of Catwoman, where she went and tried something else. It all kind of fell apart. fuck it, I'm going to go be Catwoman again. I feel like that's where we're getting with this now.
Yeah, yeah. And she's kind of reached the conclusion that there are certain things that she really needs to do, and she can't do them as Selena Kyle, head of the crime syndicate of Gotham.
Right, and I really like this about this character, and I think when they go this direction with Catwoman, we get the most interesting version of Catwoman, where she really wants to be other people and other things, but she just always gets dragged back into being Catwoman, and she always ends up being okay with it. Like, she just has to go on these little adventures of trying to be other things, and then she comes back around to it and always ends up realizing that Catwoman is who she is and who she needs to be.
It was a mafia sabbatical she went on.
I feel like this is not only a good sort of cleanup of what we had before, but also a pretty cool setup for where we're going to go from here.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. Do we have a creative team change coming up on this? We do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And do you know when that is?
No, I don't. Because the team change was announced the same time that they announced that they were canceling Lobo and nobody cared, and they were canceling Omega Man and people did care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know when it's actually going to take place.
How about the art here? What did you think?
I thought there were some cool sequences in here. I'd say it's definitely improved since this team first took hold to it. It's still not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but there were some nice moments.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It has sort of a little bit of an identity crisis every issue where I don't know what they're doing, but sometimes it just feels like a different comic right in the middle of the comic. Like some frames just feel different. I can't quite explain it. I don't know why they do it or what they're going for, if it's supposed to be a tonal shift that they're giving you, but it doesn't match up for me, and it always throws me just a little bit. It's not a huge complaint because I think overall the art's pretty cool, but it does make me wonder sometimes, like, what they're going for with some of the things in here.
They're probably just getting a lot of complaints and stuff like that. So like, okay, well, let's try this. The boss is bitching about that again, so okay, we'll tweak it a little bit more. And
right.
It seems like a lot of just red tape, just pushing them into different directions in every issue.
Yeah, it could be, or it could just be playfulness. They might just be playing around, having fun. It does seem like it does look like work that is being enjoyed. I'm not really trying to bash on it. It's just odd sometimes. I don't quite know what to say about the art because it meanders about so much.
Sure.
Still floating around in the cusps of the Marvel universe. It's not Secret Wars. It's not all new, all different. It's just Deadpool versus Thanos #3. This is Seeley, Bondoc, and Redmond, and it's just weird.
Yeah. And DP, VT, #3, they go to H and look for LD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's funny.
Yeah. It's not I Hate Fairyland funny.
No.
I chuckled a couple times. I think really the first issue was really like a knock out of the park for me. The second one, really not so much. And this one for me kind of fits like right in between. It seems like, while there were funny moments, there were a couple that just came off as attempted humor, and that really bothered me.
Yeah.
It's like somebody that just tells a bad joke and then like looks at you and it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Right. You know what this feels almost to me like late night TV shows.
Like Conan O'Brien and stuff.
Right. It's like their opening monologue. They're just throwing things at you to see what you laugh at, and 3 or 4 might bomb and then one makes you go, huh. And then, 2 or 3 more kind of lame, and another one makes you laugh. But man, it's really jam-packed full of little jokes and humor.
There's a lot of them. I'm just saying I only laughed at maybe like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, it just feels kind of, I don't know.
Contrived, maybe.
Maybe they had a good idea here. It's a funny premise. Kind of.
Oh, it's a great premise.
Buddy cop, Deadpool, Thanos.
Yeah. Thanos is your straight man, and then Deadpool is Deadpool. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. We kind of you kind of compared last time Deadpool and this to Daffy Duck, and I still think that is kind of appropriate. He's definitely extra zany here, and Deadpool or Thanos is really pretty heavily straight man here.
Yeah, super dry and
and it has its moments. It's pretty funny, but it's starting to lose its luster for me.
We only got one more issue after this.
Is there just one more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it might wrap up pretty strong.
I hope so.
This feels like the kind of thing where they had a premise,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably have a conclusion, and the stuff in the middle is just, let's fill up some space to get from here to here. It's what it feels like story-wise. Like, let's just have them run around and talk to some different people until they get to where they're supposed to be at the end. And
yeah, which given it hasn't been that much time. I mean, this is like introduction and then 2 things in between, and then we get the conclusion.
Right. So
it's a short essay.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully the ending of this is good. It's been okay in the middle.
Yeah. What did you think of the artwork?
It is okay.
Yeah, I thought a couple of the hell scenes were kind of cool, but pretty standard Marvel overall.
Yeah, there was some neat stuff. I'm not saying there wasn't some cool ideas. I really like the last page.
Yeah.
This page here that I'm not going to show you guys. Or I will show you if you don't want to see it. Skip forward 10 seconds. Here you go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Close here. Yeah, so that's probably good. So yeah, Eternity. I thought that was neat and kind of fun. So that was cool.
It is a good premise, I think, or a good plot that they've laid out, now that we're kind of seeing the pieces come together.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's okay. Probably be good in trade.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's finish this up strong with the last title we had on our pull list this week. This was Batman number 45. This is Snyder, Capullo, Miki, and Placentia. Aside from 44, these guys have been together for a while now on this title. And it's starting to show. It's coming together pretty tightly.
Batman! I have to do that every time.
Yeah, I've noticed.
So we get a lot of stuff going on in this one. I would suppose the big plot point is that Jim Gordon is asked to resign as Mecha Bat. But most of it's spent character developing and seeing some little minor plot points kind of come to a head.
Writing-wise, this is really starting to work for me.
Yeah.
I'm really getting into Jim Gordon Batman. I feel like as his journey moves forward and he gets more comfortable being Batman, I'm getting more interested in him being Batman.
Yeah, not only that, but it seems like the creative team is having a lot of fun with this. I mean, there were just a couple of moments of complete absurdity that normally out of place in Batman, but I enjoyed them quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. It starts strong, this issue does, with him in the furnace. I thought that was really cool. We get Jim Gordon being the badass that people like Bruce Wayne Batman being, just tough as shit and persevering through some crazy, shit that most people wouldn't be able to handle.
Yeah, and talking himself through it, which is great.
Yeah, that was the coolest part as well, probably, is the narrative boxes with him, working through the problem, and just cool shit, I thought. And as always, he looks like a badass and seems badass in that suit. And they're pulling him out of it more and more, which I really like.
Yeah, the suit is the rookie now, actually.
Right. On that topic, that's probably my least favorite thing they're doing, which I've said this before, but now that they're turning it into like his partner, I think it's even stupider.
I kind of enjoy their interaction on that level.
I think that they are setting up Jim Gordon's Robin in this, and I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah.
Did you get that vibe by the end of this book that he keeps talking about needing a partner and how he used to have a partner that would watch his back, and for the first part of that, I think that really they're foreshadowing here and having the robot body with chainsaw hands. No, it doesn't really have that, but having the robot body kind of come in and be his partner and him seeing that it's good to have backup.
Yeah.
I think they're just using that to show that he does need a partner and why Batman always has a Robin.
Illustrating necessity.
Right.
There is I guess, a tie-in to the We Are Robin series, which I haven't picked up. Sometimes I get a little frustrated with just the teams of Robins, that pop up. I mean, we're up to like number 17 now.
Yeah,
we're not actually, but it's...
Yeah, there's so many Robins, and
there's a lot of them.
And Robin-esque characters.
But I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm really digging Bloom as the antagonist in this, too.
Yeah, he's a cool antagonist.
Shaping up to be quite the badass.
And he also works really well with our colorist here. I think the colorist does a really good job on this title in general. We've talked about this colorist for a while now. Is it Placentia? He's the colorist, right?
I believe so.
I'm not going to look it up. If I'm wrong, fuck you. I think he continues to do an awesome job, and I think Bloom is the perfect villain for this colorist to really shine in this book as well.
Yeah. And I think the fact that they're using him as the antagonist at the same time they're introducing the Mechabat is just a fantastic idea, because one is very heavily rooted in nature and the other one's very heavily rooted in technology. And
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm going to have to think about that now after a while.
We should have thought about that before so we could talk about it.
I'm sure there's some sort of like metaphor or simile or something like that you could draw to maybe present day outlooks on things. Nature is man's greatest antagonist, I would say.
It's a cool idea. I agree. I hadn't really thought about it either. Let's talk about Bruce Wayne a little bit.
All right.
Because he keeps coming into this comic more and more. The higher-ups at DC have said for a few times, or actually I think Scott Snyder himself has said, that Bruce Wayne will, of course, eventually be back as Batman, but that it's going to be a while still. They don't. He's not coming back in December or anything
right. Like they're going to wrap up this and then just Bruce Wayne.
Right. That's not going to happen, but it is eventually going to happen, and they're planting the seeds here now. I think
Bloom seeds.
yeah. No pun intended. But I do think they're planting the seeds here to bring him back in and have a Bruce Wayne Batman that's ready physically to be Batman and has Batman's characteristics, but isn't the old Bruce Wayne Batman that we had before.
Right. His biggest thing right now is just being conflicted with the person that he used to be. He just sees like so many flaws in the way that the old Bruce Wayne went about, conducting himself and living his life. And he's like, how could a person ever do this? He's kind of beside himself with the whole I can't believe this was me thing.
Right.
So it's interesting that we do have seeds, but it's not like him sitting around being like, well, maybe I should be Batman today.
Right. It's far back in the background, and it's shown him grow as a person. And I think what they're setting up here is the ability to have a Batman who's physically Batman, but we can watch a new Batman, a new Bruce Wayne, grow into the role and make mistakes and not just be Batman at the end of Batman. We don't have to have Frank Miller's 40-year-old Batman that's grizzled and has everything figured out and is the perfect foil to every problem, has every answer to every issue that comes up. We get to have an early young Batman that has to decide where he's going, but also that isn't so dark and brooding. My take on this is...
I know you like that idea.
I do like that idea, obviously. But my take on this is the pre-New 52 Batman with Dick Grayson Batman was very popular. People really liked that character, especially in hindsight. Now you look at forums and people talking about this, and there's a love for it. At the time, people weren't so sure. They wanted their dark and broody Batman. But, as we move forward and people have time to reflect on it now, I think they see what a good character that was. And also at the end of the New 52, or the pre-New 52 era, what is that called? Pre-Flashpoint? Or
I don't know.
Whatever. We did have a Batman that was more family-oriented. He had moved past a lot of the problem of my parents were shot and murdered, and I'm sad all the time. The depiction that we get of Batman from the movies really wasn't the Batman from the comics over the last almost decade. Like, it's been a long time since we had that Batman.
Yeah. Some of the new 52 stuff, he gets pretty broody. Court of Owls really comes to mind. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. We get like a year 0.5.
Right, and what I'm getting at is I think that this is their way of jumping forward quicker to the Batman that we've loved over the last decade, which is, he's still a dark character, but he's not grimdark super bad.
Yeah.
Right? He's a balanced individual who's had bad shit happen and moved past it. He's not just PTSD Batman. He's a rounded individual who cares about the people around him, who wants to make the world a better place, who wants to do good and not just beat up bad guys, which is kind of the old Frank Miller Batman is just revenge and vengeance and justice, right?
Right, yeah.
And I think this is their way of saying, okay, we've played with the vengeful PTSD Batman for the last few years with the Court of Owls and all of this other stuff, Death in the Family and all this Endgame, all these other things we've done. Let's get rid of him for a while. He can grow as a person. He'll come back, and now we'll do the newer, more modern Batman that modern comic readers prior to the New 52 really liked. So I'm pretty excited for that.
And really, if you're into the broody Batman, I mean, you have tons of story arcs to choose from.
So much to read.
Right. So I don't see any harm. And, you know, I know a lot of the fanboys will probably say, oh, no, that's just the way the Batman should be. It's like, well, just go fucking read that shit then.
Right.
Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, there's 20 years of that is great. It's a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's more to Batman than that. Over the mythos of the character is a lot more than just that era of Batman. And I could be wrong, but I think that's where they're going with this.
It seems like it. And especially I feel like with DC, I mean, their characters are, you know, just really old. So if you don't change them sometimes, like, people are going to stop caring.
Right. I would love to have, like, another year or at least the better part of a year, at least 6 months of Jim Gordon Batman and Bruce Wayne slowly working his way back towards that direction. It'd be cool.
We're gonna get a Tim Drake Batman.
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
No, that'd be terrible.
Let's do it.
No.
Jason Todd Batman.
Yeah, Jason Todd Batman. That'd be terrible.
How about Barbara Gordon Batman?
I'd be into that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, Batman.
You know, Batman is a symbol.
That's right.
You know, so
yeah,
he's genderless. Bat person.
It's Patman.
Super PC.
It's
Batman.
Bat person. I like Bat person. That's good.
Bat individual.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up this week. Man, we could have there could be a whole cadre of those, actually.
The Bat people?
No, like super individual.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Superman.
Yeah.
Spider individual.
Right. We already got Spider Gwen.
Aqua person.
We're going to go ahead and do our Flash tie-in episode. That's going to come out on Monday. I think at one point we told him it was going to come out on Friday, but too bad.
Lied to you.
Too bad. We're going to do it on Monday.
Yeah.
Just because we're lazy, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's kind of his fault, actually.
I'll take blame for it. I don't give a shit.
Well, we're doing it Monday. We're going to look at Wade's run from the 90s when he was a new DC writer called Born to Run. That's a look at Wally West, his origin, and how he came to be. Well, it kind of skips a little bit of it, but generally speaking, it's who Wally West is, how he came to be who he is, and what his relationship with Barry Allen was, which should be pretty cool. Like I said, it's the tie-in for the Flash TV show, and Wally West is going to be showing up this season. So it seems like a good time to look at that run by Mark Waid, who's an amazing writer. He tends to be in our top list of comics that we're currently reading.
Yeah.
Almost every month there's something Mark Waid has done that we love. So we decided to go back and look at that and tell you guys about it. So if you're a fan of the show, you can go back and check it out.
As well as the New 52 Reverse Flash Volume 4. We got a brand new Reverse Flash in there. Got about as many Reverse Flashes as we do Robins. So yeah, hopefully he'll show up too now that we have this whole Earth splitting thing. Yeah, you just watch the show and then watch our thing, and like both of them.
And then watch our other things.
Yeah.
Too.
We have other things.
We do. We have things. All right. Bye.